Since we were children, many of us have dreamt of venturing among the stars, of exploring new worlds, of building empires, of bonding with friends, and conquering enemies in the void of space. And, when it mattered most, of defending the cradle of humanity from ruthless alien invaders. Many space games have tried to let us chase those dreams. I recently ran a survey on this channel asking which one had accomplished that vision best. And with over 2,000 votes counted, the results are in. 87% of you named the same game. That game is over 10 years old and still in active development. It started with 25,000 Kickstarter backers and roughly $2 million in funding. And it is, by a pretty wide margin, still the greatest space game ever made. That game is Elite Dangerous, and here are the 6 reasons why. I am Commander Mechan. I founded the Xeno Strike Force, I'm a staff member of the Anti-Xeno Initiative Discord, and I have spent what I can only describe as an embarrassing number of hours in this game fighting alien spacecraft in vessels that, by any reasonable assessment, have no business doing so. What I want to do here is make the full case for Elite, the 6th reason it remains the GOAT, but also, in fairness, where it falls short, and where its competitors generally shine. Because if I'm only telling you the good stuff, the argument doesn't mean much, and you all know that by now. Let's get into it. The foundation of everything else in Elite is that it is generally simply fun to fly a spaceship in it. Not click a destination on a map and wait, not watch a loading screen resolve into space. Actually pilot a ship, with mass, inertia, and real personality, where the difference between a bulk fighter and a light fighter isn't just a number in a stat sheet, it's a completely different physical experience at the controls. 6 degrees of freedom, a genuine sense of weight and feel, and a skill ceiling that Flight Assist Off exposes even further. And yes, there's a guide for that on this channel, link below. And the sound design is, without exaggeration, the best in the genre. The specific bass drop of a frameshift jump, the audio signature of an alien interceptor emerging from witch space, the way the cockpit hums differently depending on how hard you're pushing the ship. It isn't background noise, it's active information, and after enough time in this game, you start reading the audio the same way you read your HUD. With experience, it'll even let you fly blindfolded. Turn it up, you'll know what I mean. The galaxy in Elite is a 1-to-1 scale model of the Milky Way, built from real astronomical data, containing approximately 400 billion star systems, the vast majority of which have never been visited by a single human player in the game's entire history. You can, right now, point your ship at the outer arm of a galaxy, jump for a few minutes, and arrive somewhere that no one has ever been. Not you, not anyone. And that will remain true for the foreseeable future regardless of how the player base grows, because the numbers simply don't allow for any other outcome. And within that scale, the range of what you can do is genuinely vast. Trade, explore, fight, mine, colonize, hunt alien invaders called Fargoids, build a career, or just pick a direction and fly. No other space game offers that combination of actual scale and actual activity range simultaneously, and I mean actual, not procedurally generated the appearance of. The Elite Dangerous community is, and I say this with genuine conviction and without much qualification, outright incredible. Distant Worlds, a player-organized expedition in which thousands of commanders coordinated a journey across the galaxy together, voluntarily, with no game mechanical reward whatsoever. The Fuel Rats, a player-run search and rescue service that has recovered over 100,000 stranded commanders. Real people giving real hours to help strangers in a video game for nothing in return. The Anti-Xeno Initiative, the Pilot Trade Network, the New Pilots Initiative, the Galactic Combat Initiative, the Fatherhood, the Power Play communities, organizations that players built from scratch to make lots of money from trading, to fight aliens as United Navy, to help new pilots, to game with other time-limited parents, or to help promote the aims of galactic superpowers. Frontier didn't design any of that, the community did. And that, frankly, is one of the best things about this game. A majority of those watching this video aren't yet subscribed to this channel. If you find the content useful, Elite news, guides, and the occasional destruction of Thargoids in the most unlikely ways possible, I'd kindly invite you to take a moment to hit like, subscribe, and the notification bell. Your support generally means a lot to me. Now, back to our reasons. If you own a VR headset and you have not played Elite Dangerous in it, you are leaving the single best use case for that headset on the table. Sitting inside a full-scale spacecraft cockpit, looking left at your instruments, looking right at a neutron star, nothing else in this genre replicates that experience. Remarkably, it also manages to do this without the motion sickness that plagues many VR titles, owing to the fact that you're seated in a cockpit with a fixed frame of reference around you. The on-foot content in VR is limited, and we'll get to the on-foot content shortly. Spoiler, it's not great. But as a ship-based VR experience, Elite is simply in a category of its own. The monetization model has slipped in places. A new superstation being able to be built immediately by paying real cash is a kind of pay-to-skip mechanic that I won't paper over. And the direction of travel here hasn't been universally encouraging. But measured against the realistic alternatives in 2026, battle passes, loot boxes, seasonal content vaults, subscription fees being the norm rather than the exception, Elite still has no monthly fee, no loot boxes, no battle passes, and over a decade of substantive free updates. It started with a base game purchase, expanded through paid expansions, and has funded ongoing development, largely through cosmetics and early access to ships. That model, even under current pressure, is still considerably more fair than most of what the industry offers. Not perfect, but more fair. There is no main quest in Elite Dangerous, no narrative spine, no quest markers, no onboarding funnel steering you towards a predetermined set of activities. The game is designed from the ground up for you to craft your own story within it. There is no win condition of any kind. You decide what success looks like. Whether that's owning a fleet carrier, reaching the galactic core, mastering anti-Xeno combat, becoming the most feared ganker in the bubble, please don't. Or simply finding a quiet corner of a galaxy to haul cargo in peace. Or a certain kind of player that is the most liberating thing available in gaming. And it is generally quite rare. In fairness, there are a number of areas where Elite falls meaningfully short, and they are worth naming plainly. The on-foot gameplay added in 2021 by a game expansion called Odyssey is the weakest link. It's a mediocre FPS experience that feels substantially disconnected from the space game you were just playing. Separate progression, separate skill set, minimal integration with ship gameplay. The concept was right, the execution less so. There are no ship interiors. You can walk through stations, you can walk on planets, but you cannot walk through your own vessel. Something that has been on the community wishlist since launch and becomes more conspicuous every year that passes without it. Engineering and colonization both suffer from the wrong kind of grind. Not the engaging kind, but the go fetch the specific material 200 more times kind. Meaningfully improved in 2025, and credit for Frontier for that, but still capable of burning out a new player before they see what the game is truly capable of. The peer-to-peer netcode, unchanged for over 10 years, means large instances can be generally unstable in ways that have nothing to do with your connection and everything to do with architectural decisions made in 2014. OpenPlay has, for practical purposes, failed as a design. No consequences for attacking other players in busy systems means gankers have set up what amount to permanent operations in the most trafficked locations, and the majority of the player base has quietly retreated to solo or private groups. The open galaxy feels emptier than the game's overall health would suggest. In some games mode, CQC, multi-crew, have been functionally abandoned, which is a shame for what they could have been. None of these are trivial complaints, but no game is perfect, and if you love Elite, you will learn to love it also with its defects, because the thing it gets right are worth it. So what are the alternatives and where do they generally shine? Star Citizen has impressive graphics, compelling first-person ship interiors, and gameplay ambitions that, if and when fully realized, would change this conversation entirely. What I'll note is that the project was announced in 2012, is approaching $1 billion in crowdfunding, and as of a recording in 2026 remains in alpha, with a Squadron 42 release timeline that Chris Roberts himself recently declined to fully guarantee. You cannot play what Star Citizen is promising. You can play Elite today. X4 Foundations offers extraordinary empire building and economic simulation, generally the best in this genre for that specific experience. The flight model is less satisfying than Elite's, and it's a single-player experience. But if strategic depth and fleet management are what you're after, X4 delivers them. No Man's Sky earned its second chance and then some, and the game it is now is generally good. Wonderful crafting, customization, and base building. The combat and player community agency are less developed than Elite's, and the universe is more aesthetically procedural than truly simulated, but on its terms it's a good game. Starfield had the resources and the pedigree to be a serious contender, and the shipbuilding system has its fans. But you cannot fly from a planet's surface into orbit without a loading screen, in a game specifically about the experience of being in space, that loading screen breaks the central illusion every time it occurs. Sadly, a missed opportunity. And Freelancer. Dated now, single player only, no longer in development, but worth a mention as a game that truly understood what made spaceflight fun, and nailed it. A classic that earned every bit of its reputation. So, on-foot gameplay that under-delivers, no ship interiors, a grind problem, decade-old netcode, an open-play system that hasn't worked, a monetization model under pressure, some abandoned game modes. Still, the best space game in 2026. Because no other game delivers all of the following simultaneously: the flight model, the scale, the sound design, the sandbox depth, the tonal range, the community that players have built on top of it, in a package that is complete, playable, and actively developed today. And it is not coasting. PowerPlay was rebuilt from the ground up because the original wasn't good enough. Player-driven colonization of the galaxy is live and expanding. Operations mode is coming. 6 new vessels arriving in 2026. A feature reboot coming in autumn that Frontier won't even name yet, but is widely speculated to be a rework of the background simulation system. Which, honestly, is the kind of thing that keeps the community guessing in the best possible way. The best space game in 2026 is not the one with the most ambitious pitch, the largest budget, or the longest list of promised features. It is the one that was here before all of its current competitors, will in all likelihood still be here after most of them, and is, right now, today, the most complete and most fully realized space simulation on the market. That is Elite Dangerous, and it really isn't particularly close. So do you agree? Is there a game out there you think does it better? Let me know in the comments below. I read all of them, and I try to respond to most of them. Glory to mankind. Commander Mechan out.